How's it going, boys and girls? Welcome to the first official proper episode of the UnRidled podcast. Today, I'm going to be joined by the slickest Somali this side of Africa, Osh Williams. He's a former pro boxer and he's a coach at Max Gym, among a lot of other things. But today, I had the opportunity to speak to Osian. And I really enjoyed it, as you're going to hear from us in a second. Without further ado, I'm just going to get straight in there. Let's go. One thing I will say before we jump in there is we had a little bit of a technical issue about 15-20 minutes in, so you're going to hear a little bit of a break, and we moved outside, so you're going to hear a little bit of wind, but I hope that doesn't affect anything too much. Also, when we started, we were just talking, and I was thinking in my head, this is good material, so I just needed to press play. So it's a continued conversation is how it started, but you'll catch onto it. Continue to chat shit. Just keep going on from here, innit? Yeah. But obviously, we were just saying then about your performance on the weekend. Yeah. You fought a lad who's, like we keep saying, very, very experienced, and you've gone up a lot in weight as well. Yeah. And, you stopped your last two opponents. And like you say, it's something that maybe people aren't used to seeing from you, because you said in the other podcast, you're well known for being a good boxer, aren't you? And now you're putting it on lads relentlessly and fucking finishing them. So what have you done to change things? Have you done anything to change, or have you just...
So, honestly, yeah. So this is what I think. I haven't gone up in weight since I was 16. So I've been 65, 66, 67 kilos since I was 16. So I've stayed the same size, and it's killed me. And when I was boxing pro, the last fight, it killed me. And when I was boxing pro, everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's like on TV where you do you Eddie Earns there, and you do. It's not. You do on the day weigh-ins.
Yeah, so the amateurs.
Yeah, like the amateurs. So you come in it, weighing at 6 o'clock. So I was weighing at 6 o'clock, 67 kilo, and then fighting 2 hours later, I was dead. Yeah. And my game is pressure, body shots, and putting it on your toes. And then because I was so weight drained, I haven't been able to do that. I could walk up to you, but the sting was gone from my shots. And I've said it about other people, I won't name them, other people that I spar with, whatever. And I spar them at a certain weight, and as they're cutting weight, I can feel their power goes. I can feel it when I'm sparring. It's hard to maintain, isn't it? And then the bit of extra weight, I think I boxed when I came back on Rise show in March. I boxed at 73. Which was perfect for me. Still strong, still ripped, still fit. Took him out in a round and a half. This time I was heavier again at 77, which I'll be honest, I felt a bit too heavy in there.
It's a bit too heavy for you, because I remember when you were fighting the pros, and when someone said to me that you were between 64 and 67, I was like, how the fuck does he make that? Because you're not the tallest lad in the world, but you're stocky, you got muscles on you. I carry weight, and I've got thick legs. Where a lot of boxers haven't got no legs. I've got quite thick legs. Naturally, I'm quite a thick set guy. If you see my dad, he's a thick set man. Do you know what I mean? We both are. And then as it sort of transpired, like I said, I had to stay that way. Like you said, I'm not the tallest. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. Push, yeah.
It heals me. So I think for me, I couldn't go up in weight. Where really, I think 11 stone would have been good for me, like a light middle.
70 kilo.
Yeah, but I'm too short for that weight. That's the one where I was a nice, stocky 11 stone fight. I was good at that weight. So 77, bit heavy. 73 was spot on at this sort of level. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's where the power has stayed and it's not gone. And I've always been a banger when I've been a bit heavier. But once the weight's cut, I wasn't banging anyone out. But you
have to be more tactical with it, don't you? Definitely. I know for myself as well, I love fighting it between 61 and 65 because I can let everything go in there, if that makes sense. But as soon as I'm cutting and maybe my diet's not being bang on and I've got to lose loads of weight for it to make 57, I feel like I've got to reserve myself just in case it gets to the end of the fight. Do you know what I mean?
And that's another thing you just made a really good point there. So if I was cutting weight, I thought, okay, if this guy hits me clean, I'm going to get knocked out. I'm going to get hurt. Whereas the extra weight, you're not as concerned. You know what I mean? We discussed it briefly. I felt hurt in my last fight. But if I'd have been any lighter, mate, you might have knocked me out. Do you know what I mean? The extra bit of weight in your legs and your hips and everything, you just feel a bit more and like you said, I was very energetic. There's been times in fights where I've been so fit and drained myself at the weight. Super, super fit. But I've not been able to do it on the night because I'm so drained. Do you know what I mean?
Even if you've had a brilliant camp and you've just fucked yourself up the day before / the day of the fight, it doesn't help, does it? And like I say, you know, if you have a perfect camp and the weight cut goes well, you're fine then, aren't you? You haven't really got any worries. But
no, that's it.
If something little's gone wrong and it messes you up a little bit, well, you know, it's going to affect you mentally / and or physically.
Definitely. Like, people don't realise with, like, when you're losing weight, when you're cutting weight, especially if you do it like I used to, badly, and you're doing it last minute and doing this, like, it affects everything. Like, it affects your skin, so you can get cut worse. It affects your mood. It affects everything, like your mind frame. Obviously, your body can't perform the way it wants to perform. Your sex drive. Like, there's so many things that people don't see behind the scenes and how important it is, especially, I think, with MMA, and as you know, and with boxing, but there's so much emphasis on being big at the weight, or you want to be bigger. It's not that important. Like, I would rather be
good in yourself.
Yeah, a big, strong welterweight rather than a weak as piss, like welterweight. But I look bigger on the night. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter. Like, and I was so obsessed with being big at the weight and being the bigger man in the night. It's
like, would you rather them have a little mental deter from seeing you bigger, or would you rather feel mentally better yourself because you know that I feel good at this weight kind of thing?
And I feel all the people now, I'm not comparing myself to these people, obviously, but like when I think about your Manny Pacquiao's, your Floyd Mayweather's, your Terence Crawford, these people, right, who started off at the lower weights, they peak at their natural weights.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Around welterweight, like they start off at featherweight, but around welterweight, that's when you see the best of them. Do you know what I mean? Because they're at their natural weight, and that's why, you know, you will always see the best fights at heavyweight. Yeah. That's why you always see the best fights.
They're all very special athletes, aren't they?
Yeah.
But even you've seen it with Canelo, I think there's a breaking point, if that makes sense.
There is a breaking point, absolutely. Definitely, and we've seen that in his last fight. That's what I was saying in my last fight. I felt a bit too heavy, and I think you know in yourself and you know your body. Like, for me, Canelo is a shit or middle, super middle. Yeah. Whereas he started off at light middle.
Any heavier than that. Light heavy at a fucking push. Yeah. And not against people like Bivol or anyone that's like on the higher end of the scale.
Exactly. Well, they've got Alvarez listed as 5'8" on BoxRec. Do you know what I mean? They've got me listed as 5'7", which is bullshit, by the way. But 5'7", 5'8". So he's not tall.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's how you can. I know he's a stocky guy. I spoke to him,
and he plods as well, doesn't he? Yeah. It kind of suits his style.
I spoke to Liam Smith, who obviously fought him when I was down at Four Corners Boxing Gym and I was there, and he said to me that he saw him at the weigh-in, and then the next day he seen him at the fight, and he said it was like he'd been replaced, mate. He said it was like it was his older brother in there. Honestly, he was like, he didn't recognise him. Like, so that shows you what his natural walking around. He must be a 13-stone guy, I'm guessing, naturally. Do you know what I mean? I'm guessing that must be his weight because apparently he was huge.
It's hard to say though, isn't it? Because obviously he does bounce a little bit between weight classes. So like his diet and his conditioning, all his regime's going to be based on what weight he's fighting at and who he's fighting, isn't it?
Definitely.
Like, if he's a fight with Billy Joe is going to be very different to a fight with Bivol.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
Definitely. But you know, even for yourself though, fighting in the pro ranks, no disrespect to the likes of Will and that, like it's a different, like you say, you've had to drop maybe 10 kilos to fight a professional.
Yeah, so whenever I got the phone call for fight, I was never under 75 kilo. I was always walking around at 75 naturally, but like in good shape, 75. That's what people don't understand. So when people say, 75 kilo, you must have been eating shit. No, I was training every single day and I was eating healthy. Like when people say to me diet and boxing diet, you know yourself, it's two different things. I would say boxing diet and I made that is starvation. Rather than dieting. Like anyone can eat healthy if they want to.
That week or two before the fight, you're cutting your calories in half and things like that.
Uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. Like I've spent like fight week just drinking diet shakes or just drinking egg whites like for a week. You know
Waking up and your body's shaking and that.
Unbearable, mate. I'm thinking, how am I going to get out of bed, never mind fight?
Yeah, exactly. Like, takes you a good hour to get out sometimes, doesn't it?
I remember, like, I'm a decent runner, and, like, I run around the Orm. People who listen to this, if you're local, they know the Orms. Like, when I'm fit, I can run around that 2-3 times, no problem, flat out. I remember once I had a fight, and I was running with my mate, and it was about 2 days out from the fight, and I ran from the West Shore side, about 200 yards up, had to stop.
That uphill bit,
had to stop because I was that goosed. And that shows you, like, to me, that screams wrong weight category.
For anyone that doesn't know that as well, like, that run up the side of the Orm, I think it's 3 kilometres straight.
Yeah, about 3 kilometres, It's hard graft, but I think the point I'm getting at is that emphasis on being big at the weight. It's not that important, because I wish I'd known. I'm obviously 31 now. I wish I'd known at 21 what I know now in terms of nutrition and how I perform. And it's weird to me because I'm performing putting my best performances out there, higher weight and as old as I am now. Old dog, new tricks. You know what I mean?
Do you think as well some of it has to do with, from personal experience, this is what I would think, that you have less pressure on you now?
Yeah.
Because for me, like, if I've got a fight in 10 weeks, it's like, it can play on your mind in some ways, but if someone says to me, like, oh, do you want to fight in 3 days? Well, fucking brilliant, get me in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I completely get that. And I think as well, like, I'm a happier person than I was a couple of years ago. And like, when you're happy and you're fighting, as you know yourself, your performance is so much better.
Yeah.
And we spoke about someone else briefly before we started here who's having a bit of an Indian summer type thing, and
trajectory,
at the end of their career almost, and now they're kicking on. And it's like, sometimes it's weird how timing works, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. I think my performances are showing that, but I think from my perspective, in terms of improvements, it's mad because I know more now than I ever did. My body can't do things that I want it to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But going back to the pressure part of it, it's mad with me because I do still feel a bit of pressure because, and this is not me trying to sound big-headed or nothing like that. So you spoke about Will, you spoke about opponents before that. If someone's fighting me now, like, they want to get one over on X-Pro. If I'm sparring someone, they want to get one over on X-Pro. Like, they bring their A game. So whatever their performance is on the past, like, I would say they come in with an extra 10%. Extra, like
you say in sparring as well. Like, for example, you might spar after a session. You might do 5 rounds, and to you it's just it's 5 normal rounds. But to every individual person, like you say, oh well, I need to do well against this guy to either prove something in their own head, or that, like, you know, the people watching can see that I'm doing well against this geezer.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm so relaxed in sparring. I'm never trying to win. I'm never trying to win the spar. I'm so relaxed. I think that's why I was a professional, because I was always trying to learn. Whereas I see people when they come, I can see how geared up they are to spar me.
You're not trying to take people's heads off. I've sparred you a couple of times before, and you're very methodical with it.
I'm really methodical. I'm really relaxed. I'm trying to learn. So if you're sparring me, I'm trying to learn off you. What's he doing well? What am I doing well? Okay, he caught me there. Now I need to learn. Okay, let me try this. Like, I'm trying to learn. That's why you spar. Like, I say this to people all the time who don't get it. I would rather do a 12-week camp, spar 5 times a week, lose every single spar, and win the fight.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I always say to people as well,
who wants to be a gym fighter?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
You can tap me as many times as you want in the gym, but you will not tap me in a fight. That's what I always think to myself.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, there's so many people there, and I could name a few, I won't, who are great gym fighters and just can't get it right on the night.
Yeah.
They just can't do it on the night for whatever reason. That thing that's whereas I'm different. I can turn it on the night. I can turn it on and go, okay. Like, no matter what mood I'm in, like, no matter how I'm feeling. Like, I had 2 fights. This was one of them with Will the other day, and there was another one with another lad called Kenny Guy. So when I was fighting them, both of them, and I'm only saying this now on this interview, and I would not be saying this now if I'd lost the fights.
Right,
so
I'm
just telling you this now. I had a few injuries for this camp, 3 quite. One when I thought, can I even fight? And it was the same with Kenny, and they were probably 2 of my best performances. So I think we look so much on, like, camp emphasis on having a brilliant camp and having a perfect camp. Like, if you're having a 10-week, 12-week camp, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have bad days, whether it's inspiring, whether it's injuries, whether it's a bad run,
your warm-up didn't go well before the fight, or whatever it is.
Whatever. But I think now, because I'm so experienced, I can flick that switch and go, okay, wasn't a great camp, but let's take the positives from it and let's see what I can do on the night. Okay, this is what I can do. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing of being a true competitor. Like you say, it's not so much about being the most technical guy in the world. Like, you might be the best fighter in the gym, but if you can't put it together on the night, then it doesn't really matter, does it?
That's it.
And like you say, I know a lot of people like that. And, you know, even for myself, I'm a younger fighter, and not so long ago I was on. Even now, still in MMA, I'm on a 3-fight losing streak, and only my last 2 fights I've fought 2 people that are way more experienced than me and way more heavier than me, and I've won both fights. And what I've realised is it's a mental thing. In my last MMA fight, I fought one of the top 5 lads in the country, and I felt the most confident, the most comfortable I've ever felt in a fight. but I lost because he was a higher skill level than me, and he's an out-and-out competitor. He's had however many kickboxing fights, however many MMA fights. He's way more experienced. I always knew it was going to be a hard fight going in there, but you take those fights to learn from them, don't you? It's amateur, you know.
Yeah,
so.
and you talk about pressure, and this is what I love about MMA, and this is where boxing needs to change a little bit. Like, you lose in boxing, you're done.
Yeah.
Like when I was boxing pro, I used to think, right, if I lose to one of these journeymen, I'm done. No one look at me. Do you know what I mean? No one, I was struggling with tickets anyway, and I thought, if I lose, I'm done. Whereas MMA, oh, you lose, okay, no worries. When are you free next for next fight?
Yeah.
You won that one, sweet, kick on. I mean, that's why, like, and you know yourself, you and me were talking, like, and I'm still interested in maybe doing MMA at some point. That's still something I'm tempted to do. I love that you can just turn up, you fight, and you go home, and then you come back. Like with boxing,
everyone respects you. Yeah. It's about getting in there, and it's not so much of what's your record, is it 10-0? It's how many fights have you had, how experienced are you,
definitely.
What skill set have you got? Because for example, now you could go in there and you could fight me, and I could be trying to glue myself to you for 2.5 rounds, and then in the third round you might put me out. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
And it's the diversity in it. Like in boxing, if someone's a better boxer than you, they're fitter than you, etc., then you know it's probably going to be a tough night in the office,
definitely.
isn't it?
And if I could like go back, like, I wish, like when I go to these shows and I see, like I was saying to people, like, obviously I'm 31 now, and I like see yourself and other young lads and younger lads come through, and even younger than yourself, kids coming in, and I get jealous, mate. And I think I wish I could go back and do it all again. And I wouldn't change much, but I wish I could go back and just do it all again. And like, obviously I've had a few fights now, but I'd love to go back and have even more. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to. I'm just going to stop.
Right, so we've had a bit of a technical issue, but we're back on it now. I don't even know what we were talking about or where we were at, but moving on from the past weekend and that, well, actually, we'll stick with it. Someone I was very, very impressed with on the weekend was Will Thomas. Obviously training with you and Ryan at Matt's gym. Tell us a bit about Will and some of the rest of the lads in the gym.
Do you know what? If every fighter was like Will, everyone would be a fucking world champion. I promise you, yeah? Right, so he comes to the gym, he'll spar anyone, he'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. I would say gum shield in, but nah, he doesn't even wear a gum shield, mate. He's not bothered. He'll jump in with anyone and he'll have it, and he's improving every fight. I think at first he had a reputation as this tough guy who come in would have it with anyone, but now his boxing really impressed me the other night, and he was against a good lad, you know. Like, that kid was tough, and that was a proper fight. To be fair, every fight on that card, most of them were 50-50 fights. You might have had a 60-40 year in there, but you know, it was a great card. So,
do you know what, with Will, what I'll say is, and you know, some people, especially in MMA, will accredit them attributes to me, like, oh, he's tough and blah 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 and he'll fight anyone. And I don't really like that. I don't like that people know me for that. But
I get that.
For Will,
he
looked like he was sparring in the fight. He was just constantly with 4 and 5 punch combinations, just popping him. Really, it didn't look like he was putting any spite on his punches, but they still look like they hurt.
He's a beautiful back foot boxer. Where he actually, though, he probably doesn't get enough credit for being a banger. We went over to Liverpool 2 months ago, and he was fighting away against a decent kid again, away corner, and we said to him, me and Rai said to him, look, you know, put it on his toes a little bit here, let your hands go, hold the centre, and you know, lo and behold, he knocked the kid out. It's very hard to hit. He's very hard to hit.
Quite rangy, isn't he?
Very rangy. I've sparred him a couple of times. Obviously, I'm an orthodox fighter, and I struggle to hit him with a clean right hand.
Is he southpaw, is he?
No, he's orthodox, but he is very hard to hit with the right hand.
Right, okay.
And I think you saw that on the night. I don't think he ever looked in trouble. I think I had him winning every single round. Might be biased, but I had him winning every single round.
He definitely did. The other guy, you know, he was definitely no.
He came to have it.
He was forced into a position where he had to try and catch him coming in, or you know, he couldn't execute his own game plan. To be honest,
that lad to me looked like he had one plan. That's to walk Will down, to ruffle him up, you know, ruffle his feathers, and you know, for Will to flap it, but Will's ass is unflappable.
How old is he? Because I can't work out how old is he.
No, I don't know. He's younger than me anyway.
He's young,
yeah. I think Will must be about 25.
Yeah.
25. I'm guessing, so don't take offence to that.
Yeah,
I'm guessing 25.
I couldn't work out whether he was 21 or 30.
Right.
You know.
So, yeah.
But that's someone with another couple of years, 2-3 years experience under the belt, because he's quite a big lad as well. He could be turning pro himself.
Well, look, yeah, that's the goal for people in that gym. Obviously, I've been a professional. Ryan's on the verge of turning professional, and then hopefully we churn out a few more pros in the future. That's the name of the game. That's the aim of the gym. You know, we've got big ambitions. So yeah, that's the idea anyway. That's where we want to head.
So let's speak about Ryan. So obviously we just said then, like, he's looking at turning pro. Yeah. He's had this shoulder injury, and for Ryan, those that don't know, he's probably the most supported fighter in North Wales.
Yeah.
Everyone knows him. He sells hundreds of tickets every time he fights.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him, and he's got a style that you want to watch, doesn't he? You know, he walks people down and he throws big, heavy shots, and I think he's finished near enough everyone that he's fought, really, isn't he?
Yeah, it's testament to the person he is, of how popular he is. He's very well liked, very well thought of around here. And he's a great fighter. I don't think I realised how good he was until I actually started working alongside him. He's probably, and I've worked with a lot of fighters, seen a lot of fighters, and in the gym, in sparring and stuff, we've had good kids in that gym, and he has done some, you know, he has turned a lot of good kids over. I won't name people, and I'm talking hurt them in the gym in 16-ounce gloves. I've
heard some stories like...
Yeah, he's a great fighter, and his mindset is very, very good. His mind, the way he thinks and the way he communicates, and that's why he sells many tickets he does, and that's why I can see him. Sky's the limit for him. Once he gets over this injury, he's been very unfortunate. He went to Malta, beat one of their top boys in his hometown. No, he's not easily done. Obviously picked up an injury, which is, but you know,
the guy looked really good that he was fighting.
Yeah.
That was the one critique that anyone would have against Ryan, that, you know, he might not have fought anyone that is at his skill level, but the lad was at his skill level. He just couldn't keep up with him. Ryan was constant.
Yeah, and I think for him now, you know, it's all about kicking on, and to put it into. It might embarrass him a little bit, but to put it into context, so he had this horrific injury, which is horrific. I've seen the pictures, and the doctors have said it's one of the worst shoulder injuries I've ever seen. So prior to his operation, he couldn't throw it, his right hand.
Yeah.
So he was turning southpaw. Yeah.
Right.
So he turned southpaw for about 2 weeks with this awful injury, which people said, how on earth were you able to move, never mind box, and was beating up people as a southpaw. So just to give you the sort of, like, that's the quality you're working with. Yeah, he never done southpaw in his life. After 2 weeks, he's the best in the gym in a southpaw stance. So that's just to give you the sort of person that he is. Do you know what I mean? So,
and if anyone that doesn't know, you know, you base your whole style off your stance, don't you?
Yeah.
If you have to change that, then you're changing everything you do, aren't you?
Definitely. And if you've trained alongside him, as I have, he's different level to work alongside. He really is. And when you see how because I've always prided myself on being a hard trainer and working hard, and yeah, he's another level again, and that's why I think I'm excited for him. I'm really looking forward, because if anyone deserves success in boxing, he really does deserve all the success in the world.
I think he'll do really well. He's a promoter's dream, really, isn't he? We talk about the ticket selling, and
he is.
the way he carries himself, everything like that. He's a dream for a promoter. Like,
it's interesting what you said briefly. Obviously, you know, the critique, and I get it in terms of the quality of opposition. It's mad.
Let me just cut across you again, mate. And that's no disrespect to Ryan.
No.
You can only beat what's in front of you, can't you?
Yeah, what I'm going to say now is about, obviously, I think I'm in a good position to talk about it because I've done it all. So I've done amateur, unlicensed, professional. And I'd say 2 of the hardest fights I had was both in the unlicensed circuit.
Uh-huh.
Which is interesting in a way, isn't it? How, like, obviously I was a decent amateur. You know, I boxed at a good level. Boxed as a professional. It's mad. But I learned a lot from the unlicensing, and out of all of them, I probably enjoyed the unlicensing the most, I would say. But that's just my personal experience in that game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people talk shit about the unlicensed scene, yeah, but some of the best boxers, the most active boxers, especially around the North Wales, come from, you know, the likes of Jamie Edwards, Mark Sweetman, George Herbert, Ryan Mack. There's a lot of lads that, you know, they train as hard as the professionals, and they're putting on really, really good performances.
That's it. I train as hard now as I did back then. Maybe a little thing I'm a bit lazy with is the diet. I don't need to do 67 anymore, so why should I?
Yeah.
If the right fight came along and, you know, the carrot was big enough, would I do 67? Yeah, I probably could do it, but it would have to be, again, the right fight. It would have I don't know if, you know...
You're at a point where you don't need to do it.
Yeah, there's a point, you know, if I was professional and I was boxing for big money, that's different, but I'm not, so it is what it is. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But like, you hit the nail on the head there. A lot of good lads around here who would turn over. A lot of good kids in the amateurs, and they're not amateurs. They are unlicensed kids. But I think as time goes on and these shows keep coming and the quality keeps increasing the way it is, I think that's going to be a thing of the past. That concept of unlicensed boxing.
And yeah, absolutely, mate. And I heard you say in the podcast you did a few weeks ago with the guy that the unlicensed scene, there's a lot of things that the amateurs could fucking take a note from, and I absolutely agree with that. And it's the same, like, we have a very similar structure in MMA as you do in the unlicensed and the pro boxing scene, whereas, like you say, in the amateurs, you're fighting in sports halls, you're fighting in ballrooms and hotels and smaller events. Like,
it's like you said, and I said this in, like you say, a podcast I did a couple of months ago. You go to an amateur show, it's a 15 fight card, there's 13 kids on the card, there's no music, there's 50 people in there, and I'm not slating the amateur game, and I'm not. Most of the best professional boxers right now come from the amateur game. It's fact.
And the foundation from the amateurs is a lot more solid.
I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be the fighter I was today if it wasn't for amateur boxing.
Yeah.
Okay? So just to clarify that, and I'm not knocking it, but I think amateur boxing should look at these unlicensed shows and go, right, they have the music, they have adults fighting, they do this, they do that. Like, they need.
How can we get people invested in the amateur boxing?
I think a lot of things need to change. I think a lot of people in amateur boxing have been there a long time and don't want things to change or are scared to change and need to adjust their mindset a little bit. Change is scary, isn't it, for all of us? But in North Wales, it's such a small area, and all I want is successful fighters to come out of here, whether that's from the amateurs, whether that's from the pros, whether that's from the unlicensed, I don't care. But I think it's such a small area, we need to work together and do it, because we're doing something wrong. Because an hour and a half down the road, or less than an hour down the road, you've got Liverpool, Manchester churning out fighters left, right and centre who are hitting the big time, making mega money, becoming world champions. There's no reason why we can't be into that. But I think everyone needs to be singing off the same hymn sheet, whether everyone in the area is doing amateur boxing or whether everyone in the area is doing licensed boxing. I think it needs to come to some sort of agreement, because the area is too small to be divided.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. And one thing I'll add to that, mate, is in these places like Liverpool and Manchester, which is a hot spot in not just the UK but around the world. You know, some of the best fighters in the world are coming out of Liverpool, Manchester, in all combat sports. They have a sense of community down there, which I think we're lacking just a little bit around here. Like, there's a bit of competition between some of the gyms, and I'm not saying that it's everyone, because I know there's a lot of people that will invite other gyms to come in, but if you're not mixing it up with some of the lads in the area that are just as good as you, and you're staying in the gym and you're staying comfy, then how are you progressing?
Definitely. I think, like you say, it's not everyone. But I think when I lived in Manchester anyway, I know when I was in Oliver's gym, I was sparring in all the gyms in Manchester. You know, Oliver's got on well with Moston and Collyhurst, got on well with other gyms in the area, Hatton's gym. There were so many gyms that you were welcome at to spar whenever you wanted to go and spar, whereas it's a bit closed doors here sometimes, where that gym won't spar with that gym, or that. I don't know, I think we need to change our mindset. And for me personally, I didn't want to be a big fish in a small pond, which eventually I would have been in North Wales. I think I wanted to excel and I wanted to improve, and I knew I had to go out of the area to improve. And I think it goes for the gyms as well. I think the gyms need to travel to other gyms and need to work with each other, because when you go to another gym and spar, it's the closest you're going to get to a fight.
Yeah.
You know, when you spar with your mate down the gym, it's good, don't get me wrong, but you get to a point where you get comfortable, you know what they're going to do, they know what you're going to do. You need to be going to other gyms, being uncomfortable and spar, you need to be doing that. And I think with time, people will change. And we're coming from an era now where there's a couple of young coaches coming through, do you know what I mean, and who are adapting, who are changing. I like to think I'm one of them. And as time goes on, I think you're going to see a real exciting time of fighters, whether that be boxing or MMA, coming out of North Wales.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, mate. You touched on it a little bit there. I wanted to ask you about your time at Oliver's. I know you did speak about it in length on the podcast before, prior to this. But just tell me a bit more of how that evolved you as not only a boxer but as a person.
Yeah, so mad how I ended up going there. My boxing career around North Wales was a bit of a standstill. I think I'd boxed 6 or 7 fights, and there wasn't many shows happening. Wasn't getting on many shows. There wasn't many a year anyway. I think I just finished in the novices, and I got to semis. I'd won the novices because I won it once. Got to semis once. Either way, I think I just won it, and I couldn't really see any direction for myself. I didn't really know where I was going. And I was watching Ringside, which used to be on TV. Great, you're probably too young to remember it. Maybe
a little bit like.
It was a first day boxing channel that was belting. It was. I don't know why they scrapped it, but anyway, they did. And I saw Oliver's Gym on it. There was an exclusive all about Oliver's Gym, all about him, all about the background of the gym. All the fighters he had there at the time. With Derry Matthews, Rocky Fielding, Martin Murray, Amir Khan, Jamie Moore.
Star-studded, like.
Mate, star-studded. And I was like, wow, that gym's amazing. And whether it was me being naive or a bit cocky or whatever in my young age, I said to my ma, I said, Mum, I'm going there tomorrow. She said, really? I went, yeah, I'm going to drive down there tomorrow. And I literally drove down there and never looked back, really. Oliver was there on the pads with Martin Murray. As soon as I walked in, I was starstruck straight away. And I ended up staying there for, must have been about 5 or 6 years. And I loved my time there. I learned so much. And you say as a person, yeah, one thing I didn't do on the last podcast, I didn't feel like giving enough credit to Oliver Harrison. Like, he was like a dad to me. And I went to Manchester. I didn't really have any friends or family at this time. I distanced myself. And he took me under his wing, him and his brother Humphrey, and they treated me like family. And I was devastated when he passed, but he was a massive part of my life. And but like you say, he developed me as a boxer, but as a man as well. You know, I stood on my own 2 feet over there. I was on my own out there, and he made me a great fighter. And I think I'd like to think he made me a better person. But that gym at that time was probably one of the best gyms in the world, with no exaggeration. That was probably one of the best gyms in the world at that time.
Yeah, sounds it, mate.
It really was, mate. Unreal.
I'm moving on. Obviously, I know you had some time out of the ring.
Yeah.
And you came back. Mike Egan brought you back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I didn't box for about a year, I would say. Put on a lot of weight. Was in a bit of a shit state, to be honest, mentally. Came back from Manchester after the breakdown of a relationship, and I knew Mike because I'd done a bit of Thai boxing back at Eugene Valerio's. He used to have a gym at the old John Bright's, and I'd been there, I'd met Mike, and at the time he had Mike there, Sean Kennedy, John Love,
Scott Thomas, who we were just talking about.
It was another star-studded gym at the time, all like real class lads. And I was on a walk with a mate, actually. I was chatting to him, so I might get into the boxing again, just for fitness. Like, there was no like ambition to fight, no ambition to turn professional at this stage.
Just to train,
get healthy again, lose a bit of puppy fat. Do you know what I mean? Get my mind dead, get my head straight in that. And my mate said, "Oh, Mike Egan's got a gym now." And I knew Mike, like I say, from back in the day. And I thought, "Oh, he used to train like an animal. I bet his gym's half decent." Went down there and done a pad session with him first. And I said, you know, I box a bit, and he said, "I've got no doubt in my mind that you can compete if you want to." At the time, I was about 14 stone. He said, "I've got no mind in my mind. You bring your weight down, you train hard, you can compete." And I think it was literally about 2 months later, I cut down to 75, got a fight, and I fought a real good kid, actually, James Darks.
Yeah, I remember the fight.
Yeah,
I think that was the first. My first fight was the same night as that. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, really. Yeah, same night.
So.
Yeah, and that was a good show.
Yeah,
I used to love the venue comedy shows, and I boxed really well. And he was, and I don't think I realised how good he was at that time. And I've seen him since in fights. I saw him against Mark Sweetman, where he looked really good.
He's a lot bigger than you as well.
Yeah,
James
mate,
Darks.
he's a big, stocky lad. And I saw him in another fight on a Wrexham show, which he drew, and I thought he got robbed. I thought he was brilliant that night as well, against a massive kid. But anyway, yeah, and that was the start of it all again, really. It all snowballed. Then, like you just said then, Mike got me back into it, got me believing in myself again, and got the ball rolling.
Yeah. And, you know, like you were talking about before, like Oliver's gym having a good stable, and Eugene Valerio's gym was really good. For me, as I was just making my debut around that time, it was really good to have a solid team that were there at the time. Obviously, like, it was splitting off, wasn't it? It was boxing and Thai boxing, and the boxers were like the likes of you, Lee Blundell, Wes Simpson, George Herbert, and then doing Thai, it was like me, Eric Ayub, people like that, Steve Finmore, Osh Williams, people like that. You know, I think that show on Venue Cymru, there was 20 of us fighting on it, all from Mike's gym, and it just felt like I don't really know how to explain it, but for me, having fighters like you and some of the more experienced lads around, like Mike and Osh Williams, it pushes you further, doesn't it?
It's mad, you know. And you name all those fighters there, yeah. It's mad because obviously a lot of us now are coaching or we're doing something else, or yourself, you're kicking on. I went pro. A lot of things have happened. Wes is still fighting. George become a coach. Like, a lot of things have happened since then. I think it's mad because, wow, to have all them fighters in that gym, I don't think we appreciated how good it was at the time. When I look back, I think, wow, what a stable that was. Same with Oliver's, like, he's not had, obviously Oliver's passed now, but that gym hasn't had that level of fighters since that time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you don't appreciate it as you're living in it, as you're in that area, you don't appreciate it, which is mad. But
sorry to cut across you. Yeah. When I was walking down the road thinking about it just before, I can honestly say now, like, that was one of the best times of my life training there.
It was, and I think, and like you just said, it's nice to hear you say things like that, like you'd see me, because I used to be at Oliver's and I'd see Martin Murray and I'd see Rocky Fielding and I'd see Amir Khan and I'd be like, fucking hell, these guys, like, I'm not saying you hero worship me, but I'm saying I looked up to these guys. And I
did look up to you because your skill level was obviously way higher than me, especially at the time when I was still a novice. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I just think it's nice to have someone to emulate and to go, okay, I want to be like that person, or I want to box like that person, or I always try my best to be a decent human being and to conduct myself in a good way, whether that's inside or outside the ring. I've made mistakes, everyone does, but overall, I'd like to think I'm a decent human being. Do you know what I mean?
You're human, aren't you? We all make mistakes, mate.
That's it.
Moving on from that, obviously you have transitioned into coaching. One thing I will say, like, you know, when you're in the fight mindset, it's hard to, like, I remember asking you a question once, like, how do you do this, Osh? Like, how do you pivot this way? Or I can't remember what the question was, and you kind of looked at me as if to say, like, how am I meant to explain that to you? So, but as you go on and you move out of the fighting and you transition into coaching, can you tell me how, like, because I know from personal experience, once you start coaching, you understand what you're doing a lot more, because sometimes when you're fighting, you just do things and you don't specifically know what you're actually doing. You just do it.
Yeah, fighting's a mad game. Like, I don't know if you feel the same, but I never have a fight, right, and remember it. Fight, and then, like, I have to watch it because I don't remember what happened. Someone says to me, that was well good you done that, and I was like, I don't even remember it.
Did I?
I don't remember how I stopped that kid. I don't remember what shot I threw. Like, I don't remember it, because you just do it because it's just off the cuff. It's nice. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love coaching. I love coaching. I love working with people, and I love seeing people develop. And I love, like, there's a kid that I train, and I'm very fond of him. You might have seen him. He boxed on a home show the other day. Not a home show. He boxed on Mike's Inter Club and did really well. He's called Adam Race Jones, and he's boxed for 2 years.
Been with you for a long time.
2 years, and he's gonna hopefully make his debut in September. And I'm so proud of him.
He's come a long way as well, because I remember when I first used to see him on the clips, you know, like every novice, he was a bit awkward, and then you see him now and he looks like a boxer.
He's mustard, mate. Yeah, he's really good. He works so hard, and when I see people like him develop, it's the closest thing you'll ever get to fighting. Yeah. But, like, fighting, there's nothing like it's a drug. It is a drug. But, like, I want to see now. Come back to your question. I've had to work. He's a prime example of someone I've had to really work hard with and work alongside and try and explain the best way I can. And it's nice to see him doing the things. But like you said, I've probably been one guilty of learning to do stuff, learning on the job, and expecting other people to. But we all learn differently.
Yeah.
Our times are all differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think in some ways there's some things that I can't do or I struggle with. There's some things I'm a natural at. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's the same. Everyone has a certain gift or a certain thing they're good at. Like, I've always had good footwork. No one's showed me footwork. I've just learned it. Adam's a huge example of someone whose footwork is very good now, whereas it wasn't very good because he's worked at it diligently. Do you know what I mean? So, going back to the question,
not only though, like, okay, you are very gifted, Osh, but you've worked very hard as well. Yeah. Both of them things together they complement each other, don't they?
I think I'm a bit of I'm a bit of an enigma, right? So when it comes to training, Ryan will tell you this, I have to get up for it, yeah. So I have to get up for it. Like, I was really up for the Will Kearns fight because everyone said you won't stop him.
Yeah.
So that gets my back up, and that gets me going, right, let's have it. And I trained, even though I had loads of injuries, like I said to you earlier. Like, and that's no excuse. Like, I'm just saying I ignored them because I was so focused on that fight, because people got my back up with saying that I have to get my back up to get me up for the fight. Like, if I'm not up for a fight, I can be very lazy. I can be really lazy, and I can switch off and not be and be very disinterested. Ryan will tell you, I can spar and I can sit on the ropes for a round. I can sit on that rope,
covering up and
let someone pummel me and move my head and whatever, and have a little bit of a play and a bit of a laugh. And he goes mad. But I'm guilty of doing that, because sometimes I just can't be arsed. But when
You've been doing it for so long as well, haven't you?
And when I'm on it though, when I'm focused and when I'm fit and I'm ready, I'm a hard night's work for anyone. I still believe, and people might disagree with me, I don't really care, I'm just being honest because I know the standard. I feel like I could probably turn pro now and beat a couple of journeymen if I really wanted to. What level could I get to? Who knows? Do I know the bullshit that goes with it? Selling the tickets, doing this, doing that, all the crap that goes with it. Is it worth it at 31 years of age? Am I going to make any money? Probably not. I never did it for the money. That sounds wrong. It sounds like I did it for the money. I was out of pocket when I was
It's
boxing.
part and parcel of it.
It's part and parcel, it's compensation. That's what it is. It's compensation for what you go through. Because you never earn big money, or I never earn big money anyway. Good luck to
unless you're properly marketed and things like that. It's very hard to make money, especially in pro boxing.
It's an hard game. It's not like being a footballer. If you're a footballer now and you're good enough to play for United, you're good enough to play for United. I haven't said that. I'm probably good enough to play for United. But
maybe in your head,
I'm a United fan, by the way, but I just do my head in.
Well, fuck I forgot how bad they were for a second.
But do you know what I mean? You're good enough, whereas you box, you're good enough to be world champion. It doesn't work like that. I'm not saying I was that good, but I'm saying you could be Floyd Mayweather. If you're not selling tickets, it doesn't matter who you are.
People don't give a fuck, do they?
People don't. And if you're not screaming and shouting and giving people shit on social media, which I'm not like that, I'm a bit of an introvert, to be honest with you. People aren't bothered. People don't care. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. You need to have the full package. Unless you're signed, ready, heard, and he's sticking you on shows left, right, and centre, you're not going to build that. You're not going to.
Well, I'm just going to move on a little bit to keep it on the same thing.
Of course.
I want to speak about Jerome because it's someone who, like yourself, local lad, turned pro, and people will automatically go, well, he's not going to be a world champion. But you've seen it now. He's had just I think he's had 9 or 10 fights. And he's took a Welsh title fight on short notice and gone in there and won against a lad who's boxed on shows with Joshua and things like that. He's done really, really well. And I think that was the thing with you, wasn't it, really? In your head, it was maybe, I want to go pro and maybe I'll win a Welsh title and maybe I might get an opportunity at a British title and things like that.
That was my mindset, definitely.
And it's really hard to get them opportunities if you haven't got the right promoter or the right person pushing you and things like that. But I just want to say massive well done to Jerome and things like that.
Do you know what? I saw him briefly on the weekend actually. He was such a hard worker in the gym. You'd go to the gym, a true story about him, and he'd be in the ring sparring as soon as you got there, and he'd be the last one to leave the gym still sparring. He loved sparring. He was always in there, and do you know what? I did think he'd beat Morgan Jones. I genuinely said to people I thought he would win that fight. I thought it was a hard fight, but he's a lot better than maybe like you just said, people saying he won't be a world champion.
Give him credit for that's a lot of small town mentality thing, isn't it?
But he's worked extremely hard, and I think there's more to come from him. I think he can certainly kick on. He's an awkward southpaw. He looked very good the other night in that fight. He looked strong, and like I say, he trains very hard. He's promoted by Kieran Farrell, who will put him in the right fight to the right time. So I think there's more to come from him, and congratulations to him.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's only 25 or 26 years old, and the performance that he put on, he boxed really well throughout, and towards the end, it was his heart that got him through the fight. Morgan Jones is quite awkward himself. He's really, really long, isn't he, and things like that. And Jerome was fucking ducking and coming over the top with shots, and he was doing a lot of the better work.
He's got a lot of heart as well to go with it. I think to win titles, and I think if you're boxing 10, 12 rounds, you've got to have a bit of heart. You've got to have
100%.
something about you, because yourself, it's knackering in there, it's tiring. And the longer that I've never boxed that many rounds, the most rounds I ever boxed was 4-3s when I was a pro. But I think I imagine the longer that goes on, tactics come into play. You probably question yourself when you're in there. There's probably there's a lot of time to think, a lot going on in your head. And kudos to him on a great win in a fight where he probably was the underdog, like you say. So, he's done well and he can kick on now, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And from my perception, I've known Jerome since I was a bit younger. And him and his mates would box, and from my perception, I don't specifically know. I know he was friends with like Tom Hearn, Jared Jones, and Joe Egan, and they were all really, really good boxers. And I know Tom definitely won a Welsh title in the amateurs, and I'm not sure about Jared. Maybe he did as well. But they were maybe looked at as more of the prospects.
Yeah.
But Jerome was the one that stuck to it and really pushed on and done what he's done.
Tom Hearn and Jared are great fighters as well. Really good fighters. I've been fortunate enough to spar them both, and really nice lads as well. They all are. And I think that old saying, isn't it? Like, it's that old saying, if you stay in the barber shop long enough, eventually you'll get your hair cut. And I think it is the person who sticks at it and digs their heels in and stays that usually karma will look after you, and eventually you'll get what you deserve. You always get what you deserve in the end, don't you? And look at him now, he's won the Welsh title and kicked on, and he deserves it. Yeah,
fair play to him. Just moving on from there now, I'm going to get my little, wherever it is, my little questions for you now.
Yeah. Are these from people?
These are from people. So the first one's from Josh Dubb.
Oh, I know Josh. He's
my
lovely
mate
lad.
And yours, Josh Dubb.
Lovely lad.
He says, what advice have you got for someone that lacks motivation in the gym, and what motivates you to train as hard as you do?
Do you know what? I'm terrible. So I think people think I am a very motivated person, in a lot of ways in my life. I am motivated. He's a prime example of someone who's actually very, very good. When I took him on the mat, he's very, very good and could do well.
He trained with me here this morning.
He's very good.
He's really good.
So hopefully, me saying this now will get him up for it. And me, someone who's seen a lot of good kids and saying that you're good and you've got a lot of potential, hopefully that will get him up for it. But,
sometimes you need a little arm on the shoulder, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And motivation and discipline are two different things, aren't they?
100%. So, everyone thinks motivation, but discipline is so much more important.
It is. So discipline is getting up on the days where you don't fucking feel like it. Motivation is training on days where you feel good. I think he's a prime example of someone who I would say, no matter how he's feeling, no matter how he gets up in the morning, you make that first step and you make little positive notes, okay? And no matter what, you get into the gym, because you'll never regret going to the gym. Even if you go in there and you feel like shit, just work on the jab. Or go for a run. Or don't even go for a run, go for a walk. Run 10 yards, walk 10 yards, get yourself moving.
Do a bit of shadow boxing and stretch.
And you know what?
It's as simple as that,
definitely.
Really,
and big yourself up, man. Big yourself up in the morning. Look at yourself and go, I'm the part, I look the part, I look good, I'm doing good. He's a lovely guy, do you know what I mean? He's a good dad. He's a good fella. People like him. He needs to big himself up, because I'm so bad, because I'm my own biggest fan, but I'm my own worst critic as well, so I'm hard on myself sometimes, I think sometimes, and it's that old saying, and I said this, if I spoke to people the way I spoke to myself in my head, I would have no friends. I would have no friends. So what I would say, big yourself up, believe in yourself though, because a lot of the things I've done, people said I couldn't do them, and like I said earlier, that's what gets my back up. So it's his time now, and you've got to make the most of your time, because regret,
once it's gone, it's gone.
Regret is, I don't regret anything. I don't regret anything I've done, good or bad, because that defines who I am. But if I hadn't boxed, or if I hadn't done some of the things I've done, I know I would have regretted it. But I've got no regrets. So he needs to get up out of bed, message me, message you, get into training, because he can kick on, he can go somewhere if he wants to.
100%. He's very, very talented, and
Definitely.
Like you say, it's just a matter of disciplining yourself. Even if you don't feel like it, do 20 minutes, do half an hour, do what you can to build yourself up, isn't it?
Definitely.
Moving on from that, I've got one from Tommy Harrison.
I know Tommy.
Yeah, he's asking what your best moment at Dufferin ABC was.
Best moment at Dufferin? It was at Dufferin. It was probably making my pro debut. So when I went to Dufferin, obviously I'd boxed at Mike's. Dufferin was probably the best gym I'd been to in terms of technical and talent wise since Oliver's gym.
Yeah, I think no disrespect to Mike as well, because we spoke so highly of him, and all of my podcasts have been based around in the past. But I think Dufferin was a better fit for where you were going with.
Definitely
with
in terms of boxing, and I think he understood that at the time and explained that to him as well at the time. I was obviously sparring Jerome, I was sparring Liam Taylor, I was sparring Sean Yaxley, I was sparring a few people down there, and he improved massively under there, and I enjoyed my time there. And probably my finest moment, which I owe to Dufferin, owe to Wes, and owe to a lot of the lads there, was my pro debut. That moment, no one can ever take it away from me. It was my dream come true, and I'm very happy that I got to share that with Wes and with Dufferin and the lads there, because it was a special moment for me.
I remember watching the interview after your pro debut, and just your whole energy. You were just buzzing. I could see it. Yeah,
it did feel like mission accomplished. You know, it felt like finally I'm here. I've arrived. I've done it. It felt it was, and a lot of people said that to me. You look so happy, and I was happy, man. I was happy, and it was a bittersweet moment for me. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't really know from there where I was going, if that makes sense. I didn't really have a plan after that, so it was back to the drawing board. But I boxed on a big show. There was people there. My hero was watching in the crowd. Ant Crawler, Pat Barrett, you know, all these people that I grew up idolising were there, and it was a massive moment for me. I'm glad. That was my happiest moment in Dufferin. Yeah, I would say that definitely.
Yeah, and obviously you got to spar with Crawler as well, didn't you?
Yeah. I sparred a few good lads over the years. I won't name them all, but Anthony was one of them, and that was a brilliant moment for me. I sparred him 3 or 4 times actually, and it was he really was a genuinely decent human being, great guy, nicest guy in boxing, like everyone says. But I loved it. Yeah.
Well, just to touch on that as well, a lot of people have this perception that fighters are going to be mean and tough and all that, but 95% of us, we're pretty sound, aren't we?
Most of us, like I say, most aren't going around causing trouble, getting in fights, you know, sticking our chests out on nights out, because most of us don't go on nights out. Most of us are at home training, dieting and whatever. But when we do go out, we're happy-go-lucky people, and no ego, big egos out. They don't survive in boxing gyms. They're soon shipped out or carted off, or
they're beaten out of you.
They're beaten out of you. Yeah, that's it. So, in terms of that, most of us are nice people, I would say. Yeah.
Just while I remember, I didn't write this one down, it's on the top of my head. Chris Taylor, don't know if you know him, he's a friend of mine, he's a bit older, he's in his 40s.
Okay.
He's a jits guy.
Yeah.
He just said he wanted to commend you on when the time when Mike had found out he was ill and you were running all these runs.
Yeah.
He just wanted to say how good it was and inspiring it was to see you doing something like that.
That's nice,
how many?
That's nice.
How many marathons or something like that did you do?
Nice one, Chris. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. I did 30
in the space of
30 half marathons in 30 days. So I was dead, mate. I was dead, but
13 kilometres every day.
Every day, mate. It was a killer. So I was dead. But I remember what people don't know about that, and I haven't really told many people. Like, I was going through a lot of that time. I was going through a breakup of a relationship with my fiance at the time. I was drinking heavily, mate, and I was living at my mum's, drinking every night. And I was working 14-hour shifts in my other job, so I would get up at 5 a.m, still half cut, do my run, and then go to work, mate. And I was going for a really, really bad time, and I'm not trying to get a pat on the back. I'm just trying to.
It motivated you, did it?
Yeah, it motivated me and it helped me as well. So as much as I was doing it for Mike, because I adore him, do you know what I mean? Like, and I wanted to help him and do what I could, and it helped me, and it was sort of therapy for me.
Yeah.
But I think it was hard because I'm not trying to say, you know, I think for me, like, I've got such a weird brain where I can switch, so I can go, okay, I'm going to drink all night, but when that 5 o'clock alarm goes, I'm up and I'm on it. Do you know what I mean? I can do that, and I think a lot of fighters can do that. A lot of fighters can turn it on and off, and I always turned it on. Do you know what I mean, for him? So I did that, and I loved that, and I raised a bit of money for him, and I helped him, and I've got a lot of friends, including Mike, that I'm sure would do the same for me if I was ill, God forbid. And
not that you were ill, but you know, he brought you back into the game at some point, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He saved me in a different way. But I think I was speaking about this with my partner today. How he's come back is inspirational.
Yeah.
How he's come back is inspirational. And obviously, it was Mike's show the other day, and it felt right for me to fight on that show. It felt right. It felt like, you know what I mean? He brought me back, and
it's become full circle.
Full circle, and it was nice for me to fight on his show against someone that he's boxed in the past in Broadway of all places, and on a great card. It felt like the right thing for me to do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm not just saying this, and I've been saying it the whole time.
Yeah.
That was the best local show I've ever been to.
Oh, it was a belter, wasn't it?
It was
a belter.
Absolutely class, mate.
It was a good card. It was a really good card. They were all belting fights.
No boring fights.
Every fight. And I found a lot of people who come to watch me were boxing fans.
Yeah.
And a lot of them left there, be also now kickboxing fans or Muay Thai fans as well. Do you know what I mean? So that shows you how good it was.
Yeah, 100%, mate. you know, I'd never been to a show in Broadway before, and I always thought to myself, how are they going to make this work?
Yeah.
You know, it's not a massive night.
No, I thought the same thing.
But the setup was fantastic, and like you say, for me as well, it felt right to fight on Mike's show.
Yeah.
He gave me the opportunity for my first couple of fights, and he's helped me with he's helped me a lot with my striking game, and he's got me other fights along the way as well. And to be honest, like, for me, like, I've not always been so dedicated to being at Mike's gym, but he's always helped me whenever he can.
To be fair to him, he's a throwback fighter, and he'll get your fights and he'll expect you to take him because he used to take him. He will fight anyone.
He's got 80, 90 fights, isn't he?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I feel like I've had a lot of fights, and then he's had, you know, whatever he's had. So, especially with that kicking game, mate. That kicking game takes it out of you.
Different ball game.
Yeah, different ball game, mate.
Once you get kicked in the legs,
mate.
You're not moving the well with your feet as well as we were.
I've sparred Eric Zilker in K1, mate, and that's heavy going, honestly.
Yeah.
So, Mike will always help where he can, and he's a good coach.
Yeah, and another thing I'll just say about Mike as well is a lot of people, like, okay, this is a hard way for me to explain it, but like, he's not a dick. Like, he doesn't just do it for money. Like, he won't just throw anyone in there that fucking, like, he doesn't want to see anyone get hurt. Like, no. He does it from a good heart, if that makes sense. And even me and Mike spoke about this a few months ago when we were in the car, and like, sometimes when I used to train that, I didn't understand why he did or acted in a certain way. Yeah. But as I'm getting older, I do, because a lot of the things I learned from Mike kind of toughened me up. Do you know what I mean?
It does toughen you up. One thing he said to me a long time ago, and I took it with me into my coaching, which we briefly talked about earlier. He said that some of these lads and girls, you're giving them the best night of their life. So that some of these kids, they might have one fight, they might have a fight, they might win or lose, go out for a few drinks in town with their mates, and it might be a night they'll always remember for the rest of their life, and you're giving them that. Like, I don't care if everyone becomes a world champion or turns professional, I don't care. But like, if they're enjoying it and I'm a part of that special moment for them, that's huge.
They'll always remember.
That's huge. Do you know what I mean? That's massive, and that's why someone like Adam I was talking about before, and other fighters who I work with, I get that energy off them. I know they'll always remember me for the work I put into them and the work they put into themselves. And when the time comes and when he has his fight, he'll remember it forever.
Yeah. And obviously you've played a big part in his life, and he'll always have something to owe to you.
That's it. He doesn't, you know, he's put in the work. You know, I've trained a lot of people who fall by the wayside, but he's stuck at it, so he's got to give himself a pat on the back as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's definitely worked hard. Anyway, last couple of questions.
Yeah, man.
They're kind of one and the same, so I'm going to group them together.
Okay.
Ayub says,
oh yeah,
I was surprised when you announced to come back and fight on the local shows.
Yeah.
You're a talented and hard-working boxer. What made you stop fighting on the pro scene? There is no easy way to achieve anything, but everything is possible when you believe.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me that. So, a few reasons. One of the main one we touched on was tickets. Tickets. I was never a big ticket seller, and I was out of pocket. I was dipping into my savings just to fight every time I stepped in there. So financially, I was struggling with it. Work-wise, I was working 5-6 days a week. So my day would include training in the morning, working, training on my lunch break, and training after work. So 3 times a day, 5-6 days a week. And I'd done this, like I said, I've done this since I was 6 years old. I was 30 or 29 when I retired. It's a long time to do it for. I think socially, I needed that bit of time as well to myself.
Yeah.
I'm being brutally honest with myself and thinking what I could achieve, and how I genuinely felt was what level could I reach. And I felt like if I worked really hard, maybe I could win a Welsh title, and then maybe get a last minute chance at a British title. And did I really want to hang around for a couple of years and do that?
And put yourself in a position where you might not be as financially stable as you are now, and not as happy as you are now.
Not as happy as I am now. I'm definitely happier now, and I think being true to myself and being brutally honest with myself is what made me make the decision.
And you know what? It takes a lot of balls to make that decision, because a lot of people will just do it because, oh, I'm stuck here now, kind of thing. Well, I've got to do it.
Yeah, I love boxing, and I never really liked the limelight. I was never one of those people. And a lot of boxers, they carry on doing it for attention because they like the limelight. Do you know what I mean? They like this, they like that, and because they think, all right, I'm still what's the word? What is the word? I'm still current, or people are still talking about me. Where boxing, as much as I love boxing, and it defines me to an extent, but it doesn't 100% define me as a person. I think that was something that it almost felt like I lost my identity, and it was hard. It's still very much a big part of my life, and I fight now on the local shows when I fancy it because I enjoy it and because I love what I do, and because I can still do it in front of my family and my friends, and you know, a lot of my family and friends who maybe are happy to come to Camden but couldn't travel to Manchester financially or for whatever reason. You know, I enjoy doing what I'm doing now because I can do it and I can still enjoy other aspects of my life at the same time. Whereas professional,
it was your whole life.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was my whole entire life. I've not completely shut the door, and you know, if a few things would have to happen to enable me to do that again. A few things we discussed, maybe having a go at the MMA as well, is something that I'm interested in. I just we will just see what happens in the future. Like we spoke on the last podcast, you said, have you got any plans? Nah, not really. I take every day as it comes, every fight as it comes, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, you just said it there about being a boxer, being a fighter, being part of your personality.
Yeah.
And like you say, it becomes part of your own ego, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
How did it feel to not only like disassociate yourself from that, but like how do you feel now? Because obviously you are a fighter, you are a boxer.
Yeah.
But it's not so much of, you don't rely on that being your whole personality.
Nah.
How does that change the way you perform and things like that? Do you think you perform better because you don't have that pressure on you?
Yeah, I think I performed better. I think it was hard because obviously something that defined me and my personality for so much of my life, and doing something when you're 6 years old, you know, you're known as Osh the boxer, from, you know, to being 31 years old now. Luckily I'm still involved in boxing, so people still associate me with boxing, funnily enough, but just in a different capacity, I suppose. But
it is your passion, isn't it?
It's
how
my passion.
It's
how I love. It's what I love, and you know, I'm always thinking about boxing. If I'm not boxing myself, I'm watching boxing, or I'm running, or I'm talking about boxing, I'm boring people to death with boxing. So, yeah, it's very much my life. But I'd like to think that as a human being or as a person, that people know me as a decent guy as well, and if they don't, they don't. But I'd like to think that, you know, I'm decent to people, and I'm kind to people, I'm genuine to people, and yeah,
that's way more important than any fight you can have, isn't it?
Exactly, and I think it took me a long time to learn that and be happy again. Funnily enough, it was getting involved in boxing as a coach which made me happy again. But happiness is a state of mind, isn't it? And whether I'm a boxer or whether I'm not boxing, whether I'm fighting or whether I'm not fighting, it being happy is a state of mind. But there's still things I'm working on. Like, there's still things I have to work on myself, because, you know, I'm my happiest when I'm preparing for a fight and when I've got a fight coming up, and I just need to continuously have goals and continuously have things to aim for, because obviously I can't do this forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've heard from you and what we heard on the last podcast, there's no reason why you couldn't do something like this as well. You know, there's always doors that are open to someone like you, because, you know, as much as you say you're an introvert, and there's aspects of my personality that I feel I'm quite introverted as well. Maybe when you first met me in Mike's gym, I was a bit quiet and things like that. I'm not too sure what your perception of me was. Anyway, like, when you're this kind of person,
yeah,
there's always opportunities for you outside of your line of work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People want you around and things like that.
Well, you're a good talker. Like, I'm sat here comfortable talking to you. Do you know what I mean? I can just reel it off, and I think that's a good sign of someone when they can, like, do something like this and people just talk.
Yeah.
I think for me, yeah, I can be a massive introvert, although I've always been involved in jobs. I think I said it in my last podcast, which involved me being an extrovert. So, like, I've always worked in sales, for example, which involved me communicating and talking to people because I had to.
You're estate agent, weren't you?
Yeah, estate agent. And obviously, I do my coaching, which involves me talking to clients, talking to people, communicating with people. So, I don't know if I'm a natural or whether I've just learned on the job. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I lead like my own company. I do like talking to people. I can talk. It's probably my second passion after fighting. I do like to talk to people and do like to communicate. So yeah, like you say, doors are always open, and there's always things that I want to do, and I've always got goals, and I'm quite career driven and quite money motivated. So I've always got a goal and an ambition. I think we all should have that, though. I think it's important.
Keeps you going, doesn't it?
Definitely gets you up in the morning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, that's been that. I think it's been really good to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, loved it, mate. Loved it.
Maybe in a few months, you know, when you got quite a few lads fighting on the card, I might bring you on again and have a little chat about that, and we could just expand on what we've talked about here. But yeah, it's been really good. Obviously, you were the first proper episode I've had, and I've really, really enjoyed it with you, mate.
When you said to me about coming on, I was buzzing, you know, because I want to be the first one, and you to go, oh, do you know what, I did that one how many months ago, how many years ago, and look where I am now. Do you know what I mean? I've kicked on, I've done this. He was the first guy, because, you know what, I was his first guest, buzzing. Do you know what I mean? But I do like to talk, and I wanted to chat to you because you're a good person. Not only that, you're a fighter as well. Do you know what I mean? So I want to talk to another fighter. It's nice for me to communicate and have something in common with someone. But I loved it, mate. Proper loved it, honestly. Thank you for having me, mate.
And I knew with you it was going to be easy because, like you say, you're easy to talk to.
I don't stop, mate.
Not that you don't stop, which you don't. But like you say, you're easy to talk to. I don't feel awkward talking to you, and I don't feel like even when we stop talking about a certain subject, it's like, oh well, I've got something else to ask you about.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's it. And thanks to everyone who took the time out to ask me questions. I didn't expect that, so I'm buzzing. Thank you, if people actually take the time and value my opinion, because that means a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, Leighton Whitley did ask a question. He said, just a brief question.
I like Leighton.
He asked, would you get back into pro boxing, which I think I know the answer to, but...
I'm having conversations and I'm talking to people, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm open to anything. It would have to be the right conversation, the right time, and be involved with the right people, and we will see what happens. We will see. But Leighton is a top lad as well, actually, a really top lad, and he was unlucky in his fight the other night. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, and I spoke about it in another podcast as well. Finley is a lad who trains consistently hard all the time.
Yeah.
And Leighton has just come back for his first fight, so don't take that as a massive loss. It's not.
No, that was a really interesting fight, and I couldn't call it at the time. And I thought it was a great fight, and I thought they both did brilliantly. They should both hold their head up really high, and they can both kick on and do something. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, 100%. And they're both young lads, and
definitely,
like you say, really
lovely
entertaining.
kids, both of them.
Just to wrap things up, I just want to put Osh's little social media thing out there. Is it O Williams Box?
O Williams Box, yeah. If you just fancy having a look, bit about me, bit about obviously Max Gym, where I'm based, PTs, and just life in general. Got a bit of everything on there. But
if you've enjoyed it, go and follow.
If you've enjoyed it, go and have a follow, have a little look, have an Osian and that. So thank you.
Brilliant. We're just gonna wrap it there. Then fantastic, nice one, bro.
Mate. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Nice one.
So you heard it there, guys. Great first episode, in my opinion. Osh is the kind of guy you could literally just speak to for ages. And I'm definitely going to get him back on in a couple of months. Maybe, who knows when. But he'll definitely be back on to have another chat, because I know we talked about a lot of different things, but we didn't really go too much in depth on anything. But yeah, really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did. Check Osian out on social media, like we did just say at the end. And yeah, you'll see another episode very, very soon. Catch you all later.